Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Star Flames. In this video, yes, I'm coming back with that jasonlee and Nicki Minaj, Kenneth Petty entire story wherein jasonlee is accusing of Nicki and Kenneth Petty to have allegedly hired henchmen to harm him. Now, initially, I did a video saying that, you know what, this is wrong, right? Because if Nicki and Kenneth is going to do such a thing and felt as though they had such power, I believe that both of them deserves to be behind bars. Equally, I also said that if jasonlee is causing public mischief on Kenneth Petty and Nicki, he needs to be held accountable. Now, since that video, I've been observing a few things that jasonlee has been doing that has caught my attention. And I know that I cannot provide you guys with receipts, but I can hopefully provide you guys with some common sense, right? First things first, when I look at jasonlee's most recent demeanor, the manner in which he's behaving towards but Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty, I can see that there's clearly an all-out assault, and that's a social media assault against Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty. When I look at it, it is somewhat synonymous to what Cardi B is doing to Tashak. And if you really look at the connection, there's a connection between jasonlee and Cardi B, where jasonlee is taking a side. Now, I believe that as someone who is heavily involved in the media, and you guys know this has always been my mantra, once you're involved in media, you should do proper journalism, one that's fair and unbiased. And upon closer observation, I can tell that jasonlee is telling a lie on Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty. And I can firmly say this because first thing to note is that if Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty had hired henchmen to harm you and you're going to file RICO charges against them, you may address it, come with your receipts, and keep it moving. But what you don't go about doing is to trolling a female consistently. You don't go about photoshopping her face to make her look like something that she's not. You don't go on a skullduggery spree on that individual and their husband. Irrespective of the fact that Kenneth Petty has a criminal record, at the end of the day, Kenneth Petty is also a human being, and Kenneth Petty has rights just like any other citizens, and he should not be bullied, he should not be intimidated, and he should not be targeted because of his criminal record. Kenneth Petty has done the time. Whether or not he did the crime, he has done the time. And he's someone that I consider to be very arrogant, very stupid, non-focused, and less than intelligent. When I look at Nicki Minaj, I see her as someone who is a hood rat with a versatile personality. I see Nicki as someone who is a hood rat, an artist, a talented individual who knows how to switch off and on a personality. And I believe that is what makes Nicki likable to a lot of people. But I believe that it has to do with her craft mostly. So what I sense is a smear campaign going on against Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty, spearheaded by jasonlee and his cohorts, similar to what is going on with Ye and Bianca. Because of covering Ye and Bianca's story, I have learned how to identify these strategies used by certain media outlets. And it is a strategy that Jason Lee is using, and it's not going to work out in his benefit. Because when you have a platform that is heavily involved in the media, and when you do dirty things like try to tell a lie on other people, use your platform to spew mischief and hate, it's going to turn around and it's going to bite you in the ass. Not only that, no one wants to partner with anyone that is always involved in some type of drama or conflict. Now, I've seen snippets of a live that Jason Lee has recently done. And in that live, he basically, as said indirectly, he didn't say so directly, like he doesn't know about gang because Nicki Minaj was in a studio with a group of men. No. If those men are not fugitives and wanted by the police, Nicki Minaj can always be in the studios with them and they can always run their mouth about anything once they're not promoting threats and violence. But while Jason Lee was talking about those men in the studio with Nicki Minaj, he was doing equivalently the same thing on his live. And Jason Lee feels powerful because of a few celebrities that he has behind him. Also, Jason Lee is quite aware that everything that Kenneth Petty does, he will be put under a microscope and he will be chastised. Jason Lee knows that Kenneth Petty is wrong by default. And he knows because of that, Nicki Minaj herself will be wrong by default. And as such, what he's doing, he's going on a smear campaign against Nicki Minaj because he's just bringing up a lot of stuff on Facebook, Instagram, photoshopping Nicki's face. And this is where you find some gay men, because I'm going to be honest with you all. I've worked close with a lot of gay men, and they can be seriously vindictive. They can be seriously hateful if they want to be, and they can be seriously vindictive. And what I have identified is that Jason Lee happens to be one of those gay men. Please note, I'm not saying that all gay men are like this. I'm saying that I can identify Jason Lee as one of those gay men. Because when I look at that live and the manner in which he was using intimidatory speech and tactics at Nicki and Kenneth, if you're being threatened by someone, that's not the way you go about it. And if you know that that individual threats are very serious, what you would do, you would take all precautionary measures to caution your words, especially if you're going to file RICO charges against that individual. Because while you're filing charges against that individual, your actions and your words will be put under a microscope equally the same. And as such, I can say that from watching those few clips and observing what Jason Lee is currently doing, I can firmly say that Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty hasn't hired henchmen, in my opinion, to harm Jason Lee. He's using it as a PR stunt. And unless Jason Lee is able to provide valid receipts, and unless a court is able to indict Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty, I will not change my stance on this. And that's all I have to share in this video with you guys. Let me know what are your thoughts and see you all later. Peace.